Where did the firing of Steve Nash come from, Frank?
I mean, I think it's hard not to believe that it really started, or the clock started ticking on Steve Nash once a report came out that Kevin Durant had, kind of made an ultimatum: either the coach and the GM go or I go. And I understand that they all ended up staying. But once you say something like that, it certainly puts it out there. They were 2-5 under Steve, and Saturday night against Indiana, they had a really poor performance, their worst performance of the season. I heard that Steve kind of got into it with the play, really reamed them out afterwards. That includes Kevin Durant, and they responded on Monday night with a very good performance against the Indiana Pacers. So I think from that standpoint, this whole losing the locker room, I'm not buying any of that nonsense. But I think it's a lot to just what they've done ever since Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving arrived there. It's trying to do everything they can to keep them happy and trying to salvage what remains of this run that they're going to have together.
And is it true, based on your knowledge, reporting, whatever you can share, that the Nets did this with Ime Udoka from Boston, or soon to be formerly of Boston, or whatever, it's suspended by Boston? Let's call what the current situation status is, with him in mind to be the full-time coach of the Brooklyn Nets.
I would think absolutely. And the one thing, there are coaches out there like Quinn Snyder. A lot of coaches don't like to take over. Coaches of a certain caliber don't like to take over, in the a season has started or the middle of a season. I think the situation with Ime Udoka is different right now. He's currently suspended by the Boston Celtics, and assuming he has the leeway and the permission to just start his job at the Brooklyn Nets. Remember too, he did spend a year there as an assistant coach under Steve Nash, who he knows Kevin Durant, knows Kyrie Irving, knows what he's walking into. You also have that San Antonio Spurs connection with Sean Marks and Ime Udoka. So I would think that has a lot to do with it. And maybe the moment that Ime Udoka was suspended, maybe that's something the Nets were thinking about as well. Because you can't tell me that this is all happening within the last 24 to 36 hours. They decide to fire Steve Nash and Ime Udoka's in mind like that. I would think that the wheels on something like this would certainly have to be turning for a while now. Maybe it's as recently as Saturday, but it could have been before that. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
So the question I have on that front is, what vetting can the Nets share with us once this does happen? Based on, because it's not just any coach. You're getting the coach within the division from the defending Eastern Conference champions who decided that whatever happened was so egregious they would suspend him for an entire year, and now allow him to walk within division to the Nets, a talented roster, for no compensation. Like, what's up with that, Frank?
Yeah, and I think, and I know you've addressed this before with the whole Kyrie Irving situation, mm-hmm. So there are people upset about that and kind of the way that it's being handled. And now you're going to get a whole new group of people, or maybe, some of the same people, and rightfully so, are going to be questioning what the heck is going on here. You're bringing this guy in. The meeting with Ime Udoka and Human Resources with the Nets, I think that's going to be pretty interesting. But also, there's also going to come a point, Rich, and remember, this hasn't happened yet with Ime Udoka. He was suspended and left. I understand, if my memory serves me correctly, he did release a statement, but he hasn't sat down and spoken to the media. And I would think when he has his press conference, that's going to be, that's going to be a tricky situation for the Nets and Ime Udoka to navigate, because I'm not so sure there's really going to be any right answers or answers that are really going to satisfy everyone, because it's really something unprecedented. We really haven't seen this ever before, because I think it's only been about 31 or 32 days since the initial suspension was handed down. It looks like who knows, he could be coaching the team as early as Friday night.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.